let me start with the first demo, Karen. She's a great developer at Domino Toy Makers. She got awesome JavaScript skills, and she has been learning Domino for the last couple of years. So now the idea is to show what Karen can do for Domino Toy Makers from the application perspective. So now let me go back to my computer. There you go. So Karen started her day like most people, just going to IBM Verse with, now you can see a beautiful UI using the new custom theme extensions in IBM Verse. I'm gonna go to my calendar right here. I'm gonna approve a couple of meetings. There you go. I can create new calendar entries with the new beautiful React UI. And then after that, again, just go back to my calendar and look at an email coming from my CIO or her CIO that says, hey, Karen, can you please help us to identify the most important applications that we have to make sure they are ready for the upcoming launch? Well, because Karen is kind of new to the company. I mean, she's been around for maybe 2-3 years. But like in every company, right, there are hundreds of applications all over the place. So she actually started with Application Insight, which, by the way, is available to all IBM Domino customers. And she takes a look at very important information like applications by usage. Then I'm going to go here. I can look at the design complexity of these applications. I can look at which departments are using these applications. And on top of that, I can actually look applications by similarity. Because if I identify an application that there are 27 applications sharing 99% of the code by doing whatever I need to do on application number 1, I'm immediately fixing 26 other applications. So now that Karen went through this process, she was able to identify 4 applications. Application number 1, travel expenses. Application number 2, customer records. Application number 3 is the service tickets application, which, by the way, is a Node.js app pulling data from ServiceNow. And application number 4, the sales history database. So let's see it working. I'm going to switch to my iPad now. There you go. So using IBM Domino mobile apps, Karen can now access these applications available on this iPad. Now, when she talked to these business users, the main requirement was, hey, the application works. I mean, you don't have to do anything on the application. But the main requirement was available everywhere, anywhere. Okay? So mobile and connected or disconnected. So let me show you how this one works. I'm going to take my application right here, which is the cable very short. And I'm going to create a new expense report. There you go. So I'm going to call this one Frankfurt event. Okay. Date and time is OK. I'm going to go ahead and call this is for a meal. And as I select this information, you see that this is standard notes functionality like high when and things like that just come to life in an iPad. So, yep, reimbursable, yes. I'm going to say, you know what, this was $200. And this is customer, it's asking me, OK, well, it's customer related. Before I do that, when I select it's customer related, the Notes application is say, OK, because there is a customer involved, I want you to connect or relay to the right Salesforce opportunity, which now in Domino 10, with the new Notes HTTP classes and the new Notes JSON classes, has never been easier to make this type of connections to third-party system. So I'm going to go ahead and connect the right data. This is the right customer. And it's asking me, OK, why too much money? Well, I was very hungry. OK? And finally, I'm going to go ahead and attach a picture of the receipt, which I don't have, but I'm going to take a picture of all of you. And that's Jason photobombing. And you see the receipt coming live into my screen. And finally, I'm going to tell the application that I was traveling with a couple of colleagues, and that's it. Then I'm going to go ahead, submit in close, and you can see the record at the very end. Now, IBM Domino mobile apps, in this specific application, I didn't have to make any modification to the app. This application was developed 5, 10, 20 years ago. It doesn't matter. In this specific example, not a single line of code had to be changed. Now, in your own situation, you might have to change things like the UI, the colors, the size, because again, it's an iPad, so you have to be prepared for that. Oh, and by the way, this application, IBM Domino mobile apps, is so cool that we have IBM champions using IBM Domino mobile apps to track their wine drinking, okay? So now, I didn't show you how to make this application available offline, so pretty easy. Tap here, make offline, select your own settings, click OK, and if I go here, you see the application right now coming offline. At this very moment, this application is now an offline mobile app. Thank you. Okay, so this was a huge win for Karen. You know, she was able not to make the travel expenses app, but every single other notes application available on an iPad. And on top of that, now people can go and have a nice glass of wine in the restaurant and also take a picture. So let's go after application number 2. Application number 2 is the customer contacts database. Now, this application, the requirements were a little bit different. It had to be web-enabled, and it had to be available on multiple mobile devices and desktop browser. So if you think about that, we're talking about responsive design, and we're talking about a lot of style sheets, right? So let me show you this application. This is what the application looks like right now. Again, I'm doing all of this from my iPad, right? So this is a classic notes application. You can see forms, you can see views, you can see a notes document, and that's it. Now, because these Domino toy makers needed this application so quick, Karen used a different approach. She used Teamworker, okay? Teamworker is a solution that's going to be available from IBM in the next couple of weeks, and it allows citizen developers to web-enable existing notes applications, no matter how long ago that application was developed, but it allows citizen developers to web-enabling these applications without no code or minimum code. So in this application now, we're looking at, we have the same application twice. Why? Well, because Karen invested less than 45 minutes, or let's say less than 1 hour, to take a full application web-enabled. Now, I started my career as a notes developer, a few years ago, and at least for me, making a Domino app, have 3 forms, 20 views, the security, the business logic, everything inside the application, make that application web-enabled in less than 1 hour. I don't think it was possible, again, at least not for me. So again, after investing 1 hour, you see views, you see documents. So I'm going to open this record right here. So not a single line of code. Remember, this is very important. Not a single line of code. Now I can get to this. Now, Karen is pretty happy with the result, but she says, you know what? This might be fine for a browser or for a mobile device because, it's going to readjust the screen, blah, blah, blah. But what about the desktop? Well, she goes back to Teamwork, and she says, let me invest a little bit more. So after investing maybe 2-3 hours and using basic JavaScript or CSS skills, she can now get to that very same document, but with a much better UI, pulling data from other systems if you want to, and even integration with Google Maps and others, right? So again, it's a citizen developer approach where you can now allow your users or your junior developers or your business analysts to take any existing Domino app and make it web-enabled in no time. Okay, so thank you. OK, let's go after application number 3. This is the customer tickets database, OK? This is a Node.js application pulling a lot of data from ServiceNow. You can kind of see the logo on the left. So this application allows Domino toy makers to understand, if customers are opening tickets, quality issues, things like that. But there is so much information on the Domino side. There is so much data. We have a sales history database with millions of records, and they would like to see this data being integrated. So now, again, with Domino 10 and Node.js and the new Domino query language, now you can do things like, let me look at this order, Chicago Toys. You can see now the customer record coming from Domino on the right. I can look at the order history, again, coming from Domino. And I can look at the opportunities, OK? Now I have a one Node.js application where I can not only read, but also manipulate data inside Domino. So I wasn't expecting an applause right there. Now, the one thing I would like to mention about Domino query language, in this particular demo, we are using an actual Domino database, I will show you in a couple of minutes, that got millions of records, right? Again, millions of records. Before we introduce Domino query language into this application, finding a specific document in that database would take about 6-7 seconds. When we switched that code to Domino query language, it went down from 7 seconds to less than a quarter of a second. OK? And the Node.js developer working with me on this project, he actually said, and again, this is coming from someone that knows nothing about Domino. He actually said, Luis, this is so cool that it's actually faster for me as a Node.js developer to create applications and to talk to a powerful database like Domino. OK. Let's go to the application number 4. This is the sales history application. I mentioned millions of records, data about every single transaction, every single order, every single document being created in the context of a customer. So this is what the application looks like right now. On the iPad is classic notes development. I'm not going to tell you who, but by the color, you might think who actually developed this application about 5-10 years ago. But the thing about this app is that the application is powerful, has a lot of business logic, a lot of security features to protect the customer data. So when the CIO first approached Karen, he actually kind of asked, can you rewrite this application on another platform? And Karen said, but wait a second, now that I know what Domino 10 can do for me, why should I rewrite it? I'm a JavaScript developer. I can do magic with this. So now let's switch to my computer. That very same application that I developed 10, 15 years ago using Nodes, today, only investing maybe 5 or 10% of the time that it would have taken to rewrite that application on another platform, the only thing that Karen had to do was to put a new UI based on JavaScript, whatever framework you prefer. We're using React right now, Angular, Express. You are the expert, so you decide. And now that same application looks beautiful, web-enabled, responsive design, and is using the same business logic, is taking advantage of the same Domino security features in the back. So why rewrite if I can modernize? Now, Karen is not stopping right here. There is actually a very important business partner. Remember, I said we're going to have new partnerships. There is an important business partner in Australia that they are actually an Office 365 customer, and they have been looking to use this app for many years. But, they are Office 365, so they didn't want to use Notes. So, well, let me show you. Now, inside Office 365, I can go ahead and register these powerful Domino apps. You can see it at the bottom left. And now you see the same application running inside the context of Office 365. Pretty easy. Now, this platform was so powerful that this business partner actually said, you know what, I kind of like that. So they decided to now go and invest in Domino themselves, and they actually developed a very cool customer contact database that they now use internally to manage their own contacts. And that's coming right there, hopefully. There you go. That's it. So another Domino application running inside Office 365. Okay, good. So let's go back to the presentation because I want to summarize what we did here. She has now implemented a mobile platform by using Domino mobile app with minimum effort, okay? Minimum effort, or sometimes zero effort. She has web-enabled existing Domino apps without writing a single line of code, or again, the more you want to do, the more things you might need to use. She has increased the value of the Domino apps by integrating with ServiceNow and Salesforce. And finally, she has extended the Domino environment to now run in the context of Office 365.